Are you tired of eating white rice, boiled yam, boiled unripe plantain, or even ripe plantain with regular tomato stew? Then I have a perfect replacement for you. This egusi stew recipe will leave you salivating for more.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Didi Ekanem. If you're a subscriber, thank you very much. And if you're yet to subscribe, I don't know what you're waiting for. Kindly click on the subscribe button and let me take you on a food adventure. In today's video, I'm going to be making egusi stew. I'm sure you're wondering which one is egusi stew. Don't worry, I am here to show you. Egusi stew is like making normal stew that you use for your white rice. The only difference is that you're going to add egusi to it, which makes it a very unique kind of stew. It is not common. It is very tasteful, very flavorful, and very delicious, and should be made to enjoy once in a while. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So these are all the ingredients I'm going to be using for my egusi stew. Over here, I have my fresh tomatoes, my tatashi, and my shombo, of which you're going to open them, the tatashi and the shombo, you're going to open them and remove the seeds so that they will not be slappy, right? And I have my chicken. I'm using chicken. I'm also going to add croaker fish, which is in the, what is it called, air fryer right now. And I also have here the chief of the stew, which is the egusi itself, blended egusi. And I have my onions, fresh pepper, and ginger. I'm going to add a little bit of ginger to it. Yes. And over here, I have my seasoning cubes. So apart from these ingredients, if you want your stew to be well concentrated, you can also add your powder curry to it, Cameroon pepper if you want it to be very spicy, and you can also add thyme to it. Personally, I don't like all these flavors in my stew, so I'm going to keep my stew very, very natural. But you can go ahead and add them to your own stew if you love them, okay? That being said, let's jump right into the cooking. So I'm going to start by blending my onions, my ginger, and my fresh pepper.
I added water and blended it till it was smooth and then set it aside. In an empty pot, I added my already washed chicken and then added the blended ingredients and then added seasoning cubes. I didn't add salt to it because the seasoning cubes already contain salt, so you don't want to add too much salt. So I gave that a good stir to make sure that everything was well mixed together, and then I covered the pot and allowed it to simmer for about 15 minutes. So while the chicken was on fire, I started blending my tomato pepper mix. Do not forget that if you're going to add shombo or tatashi to your egusi stew, you have to make sure that you open the shombo and the tatashi to remove the seeds so that your egusi stew will not slap. And you also want to make sure that you blend your tomato pepper mix smoothly, because the last thing you want to see in your egusi stew is a rough looking fresh tomato. After blending, I poured it into the pot. You want to make sure that you boil your pepper mix till it is dried so that it doesn't slap. After putting the pepper mix on fire, I checked on my chicken. At this point, it had simmered for over 20 minutes and the ingredients had soaked into the chicken very well. So I added water to it. The stock of the chicken is what I am going to use to make the egusi stew. So I made sure to add the right amount of water that will be enough for the quantity of egusi stew I want to make. So I went ahead to soak my basmati rice down because I'll be eating the egusi stew with the basmati rice. At this point, my chicken was tender, so I gave it a last stir and then set it aside. Now to make the egusi stew, in a clean pot, I added vegetable oil and then added onions. I stirred the onions for about 15 seconds so that the onions can release its flavor, and then I went ahead to add the pepper mix. This is how good your pepper mix will look when you boil it. Don't just blend and fry your pepper mix. The boiling gives it a better taste. it will not slap in your stew. So always make sure to blend and boil your pepper mix before frying it. So at this point, I added seasoning cubes to the pepper mix and fried it until it was well fried. When your pepper mix is well fried, it will start looking something like this. So I went ahead to add the egusi. I added the egusi to the pepper mix and allowed it to simmer for about 20 minutes on low heat because I wanted the egusi to mix very well with the flavor of the fried pepper mix. I stirred it gently because I did not want to scatter the balls of the egusi. At this point, the egusi and the pepper mix were well combined, so I added the chicken stock and then covered the pot and allowed it to simmer for another 20 minutes until the egusi started rising and looking like egg sauce. Your egusi stew is supposed to look like egg sauce. It is supposed to be thick and not loose. It has to look as good as this. At this point, I added pepper to it because I wanted it to be a little bit spicy. And then I went ahead to add my croaker fish. I air fried it and then added the chicken. I do not like to air fry or fry my chicken whenever I am making stew because I do not want to tamper with the original taste of the chicken. So I always prefer to leave my boiled chicken in my stew. So I gave that a good stir. At this point, you can see how good the egusi stew is looking. My goodness, it looks like egg sauce, but it is not egg sauce. It is actually egusi stew. And trust me, the taste is something else. The taste is out of this world. So I went ahead to sprinkle a little bit of curry leaves in the stew to further elevate the taste of the egusi stew, to spark up the taste. And trust me, the curry leaf did wonders to the egusi stew. It took it from 5 to a solid 10 over 10. Trust me, there is nobody you will serve this egusi stew with rice and they will say no to it. I can beat my hand on my chest and say that they will love it because this recipe is bomb. At this point, my egusi stew was ready and I decided to serve myself a plate because who they work must chop. Let me know in the comment section if you're going to try out this egusi stew recipe. I promise if you do, you will never go back to the regular tomato stew again. This is very tasty. My reaction in this video is going to tell you how delicious this egusi stew was. I loved it so much and everyone in the house loved it.
It's perfect. Perfect. It's like eating egg sauce, but it's actually egusi stew. Try this recipe for Christmas, guys. Try this recipe for Christmas. Your children, your husband, your visitors, everyone is going to love it. They will love it. It's like eating egg sauce, but it's not egg. It is made with egusi. You guys, it bangs.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do not forget to subscribe on your way out. Leave this baby girl a comment or two. Tell a friend to tell a friend that a channel like this exists because we are just getting started. This is the beginning. I promise to take you guys on a food adventure. See you guys in my next video.